Welcome. Welcome to the Lions Terrace Ministry. This is Reverend Liz Jackson. Today's sermon is on Daniel chapter 7:25, the changing of time. Did you know time zones are a newer creation created by a man named Sir Sanford Fleming in 1879? The implementation of time zones, as we were taught, was due to the invention of the railroad. However, the Bible states in Daniel 7:25 that time will be manipulated, and it has been in many ways. Daniel's dream of the four beasts is very much alive and well today. The beast has many forms, and unless you use your discernment, you will not be able to see the creation of time zones. You won't. You won't be able to see. The creation of time zones is just a more modern time and form of what Daniel was warning us about. Daniel 7:23 through 27 states, "Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down, and break it into pieces. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them. And he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue the 3 kings. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given unto his hand until a time and the dividing of time. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him." If you have done research into secret societies, good for you. No, you are not a conspiracy theorist. You are a factual truth seeker. Then you know that secret societies control the world. We're living in the new world order now, and it's not so much fun. We've been under New Babylon for a while. It's just people did not understand this. These societies run the governments and dictate policies and make the changes. One such society I've discussed on the ministry before is the Freemasons. And guess who was a member of the Masonic organization? Sir Sanford Fleming. As you will also see the British government's involvement and Fleming's ties to their royal empire. The history of Sir Sanford Fleming. Sanford Fleming was born in Scotland on January 7th, 1827, and then died in Halifax on July 15th. He was on July 22nd, 1915. He was Canada's foremost railway surveyor and construction engineer of the 19th century, and a distinguished inventor and scientist. He invented the time zones. Fleming also played a key role in the development of a satisfactory worldwide system of keeping time. The railway had made obsolete the old system where every major center set its clock according to local astronomical conditions, meaning the sun. Fleming advocated the adoption of a standard or mean time, hourly variations from that according to established time zones. He was instrumental in convening an international prime meridian conference in Washington, D.C. in 1884, at which the system of International Standard Time, still in use today, was adopted. To find more on that, see time zones and legal time. Sir Fleming was and is a knight. He is from the Knight Commander of Order of St. George and St. Michael. Fleming also designed the first Canadian postage stamp, the 3-penny beaver, issued in 1851. He was credited a Commander of the Order of St. Michael and St. George in 1877 and a Knight Commander of that order in 1897. And that information comes from the Canadian Encyclopedia. What is the Order of St. George and St. Michael? They are not your angel armies, my brothers and sisters. The Order of St. Michael and St. George was originally awarded to those holding commands or high positions in the Mediterranean territories acquired in the Napoleonic Wars, meaning under Napoleon, and was subsequently extended to holders of similar office or position in other territories of the British Empire. It is at present awarded to men and women who hold high offices or who render extraordinary or important non-military service in a foreign country, and can also be conferred for important or loyal service in relation to foreign and Commonwealth affairs. For Fleming was and died a Freemason. Surveyor, engineer, and author and inventor of standard time zones, Fleming immigrated to Quebec from Scotland in 1845. One of the foremost railway engineers of his time, he was in charge of the initial survey for the Canadian Pacific Railway, the first Canadian railway to span the continent. He designed again the first Canadian postage stamp, was knighted by Queen Victoria in 1897, and from 1881 until his death in 1915, he served as Chancellor of Queen's University. And that comes from freemasonry.bcy.ca, the biography of Fleming. I use their own websites against them to teach you what God's word really has to say. That's why there's an Illuminati card with my name on it. If you're unaware, hi, daughter of Zion. You've been infiltrated by the Order of Melchizedek. This is the insurrection of the earth. We war not with weapons, but with our mouth. Revelation chapter 2:16. So knowing who controls the world sets you free, and you are free indeed. It's important to know who is behind the destruction so that we can wake up and embrace Abba Yahuwah. For if we continue to lay asleep, our salvation and resurrection from this darkness, it just won't occur. And then we're lost to this world. And that is not what has been promised to us. Abba Yahuwah says, the truth shall set you free, and you will be free indeed. Abba Yahuwah says that his return is imminent because we're too far gone. And these are the days of Noah and the days of Daniel's prophecy. Therefore, we must know what it is that Daniel saw, what Daniel is talking about. And to understand how they changed our times, we must do the investigation and the research. So time zones are a fluke, a lie, meant to separate us even more from the truth, meant to hinder our walk, meant to lie to us. So let's talk about time zones. The world is not divided anymore based on 24-hour time. While time zones are based on lines of longitude, some lines are drawn to avoid populated areas or to follow borders, and some countries have added their own variations because they don't want to be divided into several zones. In a few regions, the time kept is not one of 24 standard time, because half hour or quarter hour differences are in effect there. Variations also occur because different countries or regions have adopted daylight savings time. China is the largest country with one time zone, when it should, according to this model, have 5. That would be like New York, Chicago, Denver, and LA in the United States being in the same time zone. India is the second largest country with only one time zone as well. Russia adheres to its standard time zones, except the entire country is on permanent daylight savings time. And so it's an hour ahead of their actual zones. Russia has the most time zones with 11, followed by the US with 9, 6 for states and 3 for territories, and Canada with 6. Australia uses 3 time zones. The eastern and western zones adhere to their assigned time, but the central zone is a half hour ahead. In the Middle East and South Asia, several countries also use half-hour time zones. In South Asia, if you follow a straight line west along the 27th degree latitude line, you will move back and forth across time zones. You can actually be in 3 time zones at the same time at the spot where the borders of Norway, Finland, Norway, Russia, and Russia, Finland meet. So that's a lot, but it's the truth. That's how they divided time to keep you guys asleep and at odds with each other. Before the railway, time was based on 24 hours. Before the advent of railways in the 1800s, all time was local. Noon was simply when the sun was directly overhead, wherever you were, and that is what is called solar time. You had a sundial in most of y'all's homes at one point. That is the true measurement of time. Each town's citizen would set their clock and pocket watches according to the official town clock or timekeeper. When a person would arrive from another town, they would just simply take their watch out and set it to the clock of that town. What is the Prime Meridian Conference? The Prime Meridian Conference was the International Meridian Conference in Washington, D.C., adopted the proposal brought by Fleming in 1884. The proposal stated that the prime meridian for longitude and timekeeping should be one that passes through the center of the transit instrument at the Greenwich Observatory in the United Kingdom. The conference established the Greenwich Meridian as the prime meridian and Greenwich Mean Time as the world's time standard. The International 24-hour time zone system grew from this, in which all zones refer back to Greenwich Mean Time on the prime meridian. The main factors that favored Greenwich as the site of the prime meridian were Britain had more shipping and ships using the Greenwich meridian than the rest of the world put together at this time. The British Nautical Almanac started these charts in 1767. The Greenwich Observatory produced data of the highest quality for a long time. The Greenwich meridian divides east and west, and it actually does work for that purpose. It cuts our X and Y axis straight down on a flat earth. And it makes sense because the earth is flat. The United Nations logo even tells you that. And on a flat plane, 0, 0 is in the center where the true location of Eden, Atlantis, Hyperbia, whatever you want to label it, is located. And that is the North Pole. So when you put the Mercator map in the middle on your flat earth and you orientate it properly which I have sermons on that as well, you locate where Abba Yahuwah, Mount Zion, really is. You understand that right now it's just a hidden place, just like in Wonder Woman, their place was hidden. Or in Wakanda, in the Avengers, their place was hidden. Same concept. You may be asking, what made me look this subject up? Well, this sermon was written in 2018, and they were talking about returning Korean soldier bodies. They were being honored in Hawaii, and Abba Yahuwah placed the thought to look up the current time in Japan. So I did. What I learned was when it's 1 p.m. in Hawaii, it's 8 a.m. in Japan. So to me, this means that there's a place in the Pacific Ocean where time just dies. And you and I both know that that cannot be true. For when you do a Google search, Japan and Hawaii are only 4,108 miles away. And if you go by time zones, that's a 19-hour difference. However, if you take a plane, the shortest distance between Hawaii and Japan is 4,117 miles, and fly at an average speed of 560 miles per hour, then you understand that from Hawaii to Japan, it takes 7.35 hours to arrive. 7.35 hours is a huge difference than the 19 hours between 1 p.m. and 8 a.m. Because you have to realize, according to the world, Japan's already in tomorrow. So, common sense time, my brothers and sisters. The chart to the right, because there's a chart in this sermon, depicts the right time conversion for Hawaii and Japan. Notice that there's only a 5-hour difference and not 19. Knowing that the main states work on 3 time zones and that California to that California to New York is only half the distance from Japan to Hawaii, meaning California to New York is only 2,913.7 miles. We see that the world is lying to us, and it's very inaccurate. And we must understand the manipulation of time, for it's vital for discerning the end times and the signs we are in now. In my sermons, I use Gleason's map. Abba Yahuwah taught me how to mirror it and flip it so that you have on the right side east and on the left side west, because you read Hebrew from right to left. And every coordinate that is GPS matches when you mirror Gleason's map and you orientate it properly. Your GPS coordinates do not lie. So that is how I was able to also prove the earth is flat using GPS. Again, those sermons are available for you at thelionstears.com. Gleason's map shows the world split into 24 hours, not by longitude and latitude lines like they want you to believe. This gives a more accurate account of time around the world. So I urge you to do your own study and to really wake up to the lies that you have been fed. One reason for changing time is to fool you into believing that the countries are located in areas in which they really aren't and are bigger than what they claim. It's designed to correspond with the Gregorian calendar, which is wrong. For all ancient solar calendars, solar civilizations are the true locations of the Hebrew Israelite civilizations. They did not worship the sun, but utilized the sun to discern time, to discern the signs, and for jubilees of the year, as there are 4 of them, and that is your equinoxes and your solstices. When you understand that the systems in place now are the beast systems, you will begin to understand how important faith in Abba Yahuwah is, and how his promises are beginning to be fulfilled, for these are the end times. As always, it's never goodbye, but I'll see you later.